Well, how's everybody doing? A lot of news going on, the DFW Metroplex. A lot of news to say the least. Episode 55 of the 214 Sports Show. I'm Joseph Duffy, joined alongside, as always, with TJ Krulowitz. TJ, how you doing?
As a lot of people could be doing a lot better right now, Joseph.
Yes, of course, our heart has been ripped out a little bit as fans of the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, the
You know what this
news.
episode is named after?
I think it should be called a Leighton Vander Esch episode, but
Yeah, yeah.
episode 55. Cannot believe it's 55, but we can find another 55 on the way. I'm all
And the
ears.
first without Luka.
Yeah, what did you
Derrick
end up
Jones
selling?
Jr.
Yeah, we could do that. What did you end up selling with last week? I forgot. I saw it and I was kind of laughing.
It was either Chuck Halley or Randy White.
I think it was Chuck Howlett, yeah. But yeah, this is it's been an interesting weekend to say the least. So we'll dive right into it, but we'll start with, of course, this bombshell trade and the main part of the trade, Luka Doncic in the middle of the night, getting traded by Nico Harrison, the GM of the Dallas Mavericks, to the LA Lakers in return for a pick and Anthony Davis. Head scratching indeed, TJ. You know how I felt. I know how you feel, but just kind of explain it real quick of what your initial thoughts were of this trade and just where the Mavericks go from here.
Well, first of all, I want to say that when this trade went down, I was hanging out with one of my friends who um, she doesn't really know too much about sports. She doesn't really care too much about sports, and it's kind of funny because she has been with me um, the two most horrible, horrific, traumatic times of my sports life, which would be this trade, and in second place would be the Jose Altuve run in the ALCS.
Oh my
And
God.
both times she has been there, live reaction to see me, and it's been very tough. It's been very tough to act like it doesn't matter to me because my goodness, this is the worst trade in NBA history. I brought this shirt. I thought you would like it from 2020. The future's now. Actually, 2019. The future's now. I bet Nico would really like this because obviously he doesn't care about 10 years into the future. But I mean, my goodness, you don't. You got older. You got basically more expensive. There's no reasoning to any of these trades that Nico Harrison is doing right now. It's pure sabotage. It feels like he has bought into his own legacy instead of the Mavericks legacy. It should be a really, really big alarm to anybody within the organization when he goes into that press conference the next day and says that the future to him is in 3, 4 years, not the next 10 years. He'll bury himself in the next 10 years. That is bullshit. That is not what you need to be hearing from a general manager, because that means that he's buying into his own legacy. All right. He doesn't care about the Mavericks. He cares about himself. He cares about what his legacy will be. And obviously, it completely backfired. I don't know what he was thinking about trying to raise his legacy by trading Luka Doncic away. Obviously, now he's going to be remembered as one of the worst GMs in NBA history, maybe even sports history. I might compare this to the Babe Ruth trade, where when he got traded to the New York
Yeah.
Yankees from the Red Sox. This is what it feels like. All right. You don't trade somebody to the Lakers. I don't know. I'll let you talk. I've been talking for too much, real quick.
You said it perfectly. He's trying to be in control of the Mavericks so much that he's willing to do what he wants to do instead of what's best for the team. And it's funny because Rob Pelinka, you can tell, like, at his press conference to the Lakers, you can tell he got away with like the most ridiculous fleece in the history of the league. He's just making joke after joke, being sly with all the Lakers supporters because they all know it is stupid. Like, you can't justify this. You cannot like justify any of this. Sending a top five player, consensus in the league, potentially best player in the league, for AD, a man who is already an aging vet and a first round pick. You could have gotten much more in return as well. But the fact that you let this guy go at the age of 25, a five-team first team All NBA, a five-time first time All NBA guy who just led his team to the NBA Finals, and you ship him off in the middle of the night, no less, no rumors, just ship him off, telling nobody. There's been reports by Brian Windhorst. I don't know if you heard recently, but obviously Luka is seething. He didn't want to leave this team. He loved the city of Dallas. He loved the people, and this new ownership, they've really found a way to make the fans disgusted. And you're seeing now that they're trying to refund all the season tickets for those who have bought it.
Embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, man. They've lost like 1 million followers on the Instagram account so far, I believe. But it's just hard to watch, man. You may think I'm being hyperbolic here, but uh, no Cowboys playoff losses hurt like this to me.
No,
Literally,
I'm telling you,
none of
this is the
them.
worst sports moment of my life.
It legit might be for me too, because I've seen the Cowboys choke 2014 against the Packers, 2016 against the Packers. Of course, he saw it again a few years ago with Jordan Love coming in and steamrolling this team. I've seen so many losses with the Rangers, whether it be in the 2015 playoffs or 16, or the Rangers choke in 2011. Gladly they won in 2022, but 2023. But look, like I've never felt a pain like this. I was sick. I've been sick. I'm still sick. I just cannot believe that an executive would do this to one of the sons of Dallas, the most popular athlete in the city, who loved the city, and you just let him go while he's also searching for a house, refused to even contact him or even contact any of your minority owners like Mark Cuban. It's shady all around and it's just dirty business. I cannot believe this is what like real life is now for us that we don't even have Luka Doncic anymore. I understand his win now approach, but you don't send away a guy like this. This is not just any player.
Mhm.
This is Luka freaking Doncic. You send away a top five player in the game for an aging vet.
Up to.
No disrespect. No disrespect to Anthony Davis. But you sent away a guy who could have gone down as a legend in Dallas for a guy who has been, multiple places, has dealt with injuries. And don't get me wrong, he's gotten better with, his court presence. He hasn't dealt with as many injuries in the past 2 seasons, but it's just a bad look all around. I really cannot believe it.
Yeah. I mean, you're going. I mean, look, I got the Luca poster right here. I got Luca shoes. I got other Luca posters around in my room and stuff. And it's like, it's heartbreaking because we have these Cowboys playoff losses. I have Cowboys stuff everywhere, but it's like we'll be back. There's always a chance of there's always a simmer of knowing that there's a tomorrow. There is no tomorrow with Luka Doncic on the Mavs. I don't believe all the BS. Hey, he's gonna pull a LeBron. All right, he's going to Miami, coming back to Cleveland, winning us a championship. No, this is done. This is a done deal. Nico Harrison, obviously he won't be here in 5 years because he's already told the public that. But I don't believe that. I don't think that's gonna happen. There is no future with the Mavericks anymore. The future is Nico Harrison's future, which is in the next 3, 4 years, and then we're screwed after that. That's what LA was. That's what the Lakers were. We were screwed after LeBron retires. We have no future. We have no picks, and our all of our players are aging. And that's what the Lakers were supposed to be. And now it's the Mavericks. Um, I don't understand doing business with the Lakers and only the Lakers. Rob Pelinka, he just looks like the most LA general manager ever. I mean, he looks like I don't understand how you can look at Rob Pelinka and trust him. He just looks slimy. Like he looks like no offense to chiropractors. He looks like he would be a chiropractor or something like that. Like he just doesn't look like he's a I don't know. I'm not trying to. He's just a slimy guy. I want to do business with him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's working for the Lakers, Nico. That is, in about 5, 10 years down the road, it wouldn't be surprising. But I mean, back to Luca, and I know you mentioned about AD and Max Christie, and it feels so bad for them, knowing that this is their life is having to play for a team that doesn't care about them, a fan base that doesn't care about them, and it sucks for
And it's
them.
not their fault. It's
It's
not their
not their
fault.
fault at all. That's the thing. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks for them. But I mean, the Dallas Morning News, Brad Townsend, who was at the LA press conference for Luca and has done amazing coverage for everybody through this Luca trade. I thought the Dallas Morning News, their front cover was put it in perfect perspective. Luka was ours. He was ours. He was Dallas. He was somehow the face of Dallas when you have the Cowboys. And it's gone. It's all gone. And I mean, especially from our perspective, we didn't see the prime of Dirk. We barely remember 2011. We don't know much of this stuff, like we were kids.
We don't
And
typically have generational players in the city
yeah,
of Dallas, like, generally.
yeah,
But, we didn't see the Cowboys dynasty. We didn't see, the Great Wall and Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and that dominant defense. This is like the first generational player that we had a chance to watch in
yeah, that's what I
full,
was saying.
grow up with him, and they just took it from us. It
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense, man.
Luca was our Dirk. We finally had the prime experience of having a generational player. And you'd always, I mean, we've been through years and years of people just telling us, man, how lucky is it for you to go from Dirk straight to Luca, even have them play a season together. I mean, it's just like straight up, what a symbolic way of passing the torch. And you see all this stuff. I mean, I went to Dirk's jersey retirement against the Warriors 2022, January 5th. And we had a whole like 30-minute presentation, obviously, before Dirk even went out there to speak on center court. And in this time, they had this video where they played, and it was a bunch of people from the past and from everybody from Dirk's connections, and one of them was Luka. And what does Luka say in that video? He goes, "It's tough to fill the shoes of Dirk in this franchise, but I'm ready to do it."
Hmm.
Something like that.
It's sad, bro. It's
And it's
very
over.
sad.
It's just over like that. I've been thinking about that. This is a trade where you feel like you're gonna wake up in a cold sweat like you're in a movie.
Dude, I
And from
thought
the
I was
flashbacks of Luca raising a banner with a Lakers jersey on. I'm telling you right now, if the Lakers win a championship before the Mavericks, post Luca trade, post Luca AD trade, there's not a single second I'm watching NBA basketball after this. There's no coming back for the Mavericks. They're done. They're done. They're moving to Las Vegas, or they have to just straight up just abolish the team.
everybody thought it was fake, bro. I mean, there's not a single person I know that legit thought that Shams Charania was not hacked. I mean, you see a trade like that, my league, my team doesn't even let those trades go in on 2K. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
people,
of course
no,
not.
nobody lets that. No sane general manager goes on a power trip like that in the NBA. I have never seen anything like that. He talk about his weight, which I think is BS anyway. He drops 34.99 last year, bro.
hmm
And if he weighs that, he can do literally whatever he wants. I don't care if he's dropping
Yeah,
stats like that and having a playoff run like he did last year. He talk about his weight, but then he let his trainer go to the New York Knicks. He let all his friends go in the past that he loved in the team that were also helping him contribute on the team. You can tell that Nico Harrison was slowly trying to get under this guy's skin, wanting him to eventually leave, I guess. And the irony is, my biggest fear of all along of Luka Doncic saying, you know what, this team is never going to win a championship. I want out. It ended up being the GM forcing his hand saying, we want you out, which I cannot believe. That was like the 1% of things that people could have expected with the Dallas Mavericks. I didn't think that Luka Doncic would get a championship or even go to the championship as early as he has right now, but he was on trajectory of possibly making another path and run to a championship if he got healthy. And, after that loss to the Celtics, I thought, you know what, he's banged up. He needs more recovery. He goes ahead and plays with Slovenia in the national competitions. And then he comes back, has a banged up season. And when he comes back, I'm thinking, it's up. Who knows what can happen in the NBA playoffs? You saw what happened last year, bouncing OKC, the number one team, and then also finding a way to go to the NBA Finals against a hot Timberwolves team. And now we'll never know what the future will hold for this team because of Nico Harrison. So
yeah. I
very,
just don't.
very inept.
I don't know how they found out that Luca wasn't going to be the franchise cornerstone moving forward. I don't understand how they came to that conclusion. There seriously has to be something really bad behind the scenes, but I feel like it would have been told by now, especially with all these reports. Like, I mean, we basically know Nico Harrison's whole life at this point with all these reports coming out from this Luka trade. I feel like we know everything, and there's no cover up at this point. There's no, like, this is it. Like the Mavs just thought all of a sudden, like, we don't want you anymore. And I guess I shouldn't say the Mavs. It's Nico and Patrick Dumont, or I don't know who. I mean, I don't understand the governor getting into it. I don't think he's ever,
He has
who
no
knows if he's
basketball,
ever
bro.
picked up a basketball. I don't want
He
his
doesn't care.
permission.
He doesn't care about
Like
basketball, bro.
these people weren't around when Luca was there. I don't want these people making decisions. I mean, this was Luca's team. It wasn't Nico's team.
These are casino people, bro. And I hate to do this because I love Mark Cuban, but I feel like him selling his majority stake is what ended up costing this. Not I feel like he is feeling so guilty right now. That's why you're not hearing much from him right now because the only word
Mm.
we've heard from Mark Cuban um, by reports is him saying, Mark, do you have any thoughts? Someone asked him in a DFW report, and he said MFFL.
Yep.
So that's all he said. I haven't heard much from him. I wish he can drop a few sentences for us in his thoughts, but clearly he's probably hurt as well. He has no power. I don't think his basketball ops title is really effective right now. I think they kind of phased out last year. So he's really
Mm-hmm.
powerless here with his minority stake. And I have a feeling that he's feeling a little bit guilty that if he still was majority owner, this would not happen. So
Yeah, I mean, if and Mark loves talking, so I mean, it's very obvious that he's very hurt, and that's and it's a little disappointing to me too. I mean, I would rather have him. Obviously, he's shocked too. I need him to come out and say that this was a horrible move. I want Dirk to come out and say this is a horrible move. For them to
yeah,
just be kind of stagnant with this and just kind of put the eyes wide emoji on Twitter like Dirk did,
Dirk,
not have really an opinion on it, just kind of hurts too. Like, I
it
mean,
hurts,
come on,
man.
man. This is as much as your team as it is ours.
Yeah.
You guys used to control this franchise not even just a few years ago. And now we can't even get you guys to come out with a full public statement about this, or even and even if they do, it's going to be fully PR'd and maybe even AI written. Who knows? I mean, it's so it's so heartbreaking. It does feel like Dallas basketball died. Um, like I love the one of the best sign that I thought was from the whole like protest that they had on at Victory
Looked like a
Park, which is
vigil.
now called PNC Park because we can't have anything nice anymore. Um, and they put a sign that just said hope, and it was like January, it was like 2019 to January 2025. And that's what it was. It was just like, here lies hope. The hope's gone. I mean, the Mavericks can win a championship this year, and I still am hurt,
I mean,
and
the worst thing is that, you know, um, the future, like you were saying, is hooked, is cooked. But they talk about how he was a son of Dallas, was buying a house here. He really cherished the city. And just like that, he's gone. The fans, I don't even blame them. They're up there. It looked like a guy died, you know? You would think a guy died with the stuff they had sitting up there. And then they come and wash all the stuff away that's sitting on the stairs and, all the posters that were there, all the jerseys left, the shoes. And it's just another nightmare. And, the Cowboys have always been a laughing stock most of our lives. And the Mavs, although they haven't made like splash moves for the majority of our lives, Mark Cuban's leadership in the front office has always been more respected than Jerry Jones. And from what this franchise has gone to with the selling of that majority stake to the Dumont family, the Adelson family, and Nico Harrison as GM, it's unreal. I mean, they're going to be laughed at for decades to come compared to the Cowboys. I mean, you think the Cowboys are going to laugh at this trade is going to be talked about until we die, and
they joked about us
and
at the
even longer.
Grammys, Joseph.
Oh yeah, the
We're
Grammys,
screwed.
the Grammys. They're talking about this trade at the Grammys.
We're screwed. Nobody's going to sign with us. This is 2013 Dallas Mavericks all over
Oh yeah,
again.
you
We're
thought
not
nobody
signing
was signed during the
anybody.
Dirk days. Oh my God,
That's
you
what I'm
can't.
saying. We're back to the Dirk days. We're not respected anymore.
Oh
No
my Lord.
respect whatsoever in this organization at all. With one move, one day, just gone.
I
And
don't get it.
so it's the Nico Harrison Mavericks. And so I mean, he's put me in a bad spot. I literally had just got a new car on campus, and it was there was an A&M sticker on the back, because it was my sister's car. She went to A&M, and I go to UT Austin. And so I was like, well, no hate towards the Aggies. I'm not saying no hate, but I was not going to go to college at UT Austin with an A&M thing on the back of my car. I feel like that's very reasonable. So I replaced it with the Maverick sticker. And now, what am I supposed to do? I don't want to be driving around with that Maverick sticker on. I'd rather be driving around with the Aggie sticker on. So I'm probably going to chip it off.
How am I supposed to live
Um,
when I see this dude in a purple and gold jersey, bro? Oh my God.
I'm serious. Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
I'm
when
serious. I
he
mean,
did this, bro, I about cried, dude.
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
the Lakers win a championship before the Mavericks is goodbye basketball. I mean,
yeah.
there's no reason for any Mavericks fan to have any hope or to be cheering for the team. There's no reason. There's no reason because he screwed it all up. Um, and it's oh, man, dude. I don't even know what to say. I've been talking for so long. I've been thinking for so long, and it's still so hard to put stuff into words about
It's
what conspired
it's an awful
this
feeling.
past
Oh,
week.
awful feeling. Well, we talked a little bit about the Cowboys when talking about inept front offices, but moving on, we saw that the building of Brian Schottenheimer's staff hasn't looked too bad. And dang it, Jerry, you might have done it to me again. You could have reeled me back in. You could have done it yet
Nico did it
again,
to
Jerry.
us, man. Now it's like I feel like the Cowboys are a team that I can rely on.
Yeah, the
What
reliant front office of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't remember us talking about last week, but you say we did talk about Matt Eberflus signing as a
I
DC of
think we did.
the Cowboys, which I thought was a great hire. But just recently, the Clayton Adams acquisition from Arizona, he was hired as an offensive coordinator on Brian Schottenheimer's staff. Now, Shotty, as I call him now, I guess, as he's going to be deemed in DFW media, Shotty is still going to be calling plays. All right, like Mike McCarthy, he's going to be calling plays as head coach. Clayton Adams and also the hiring of running back coach Derek Foster from the Saints, they're really trying to have a renaissance with the running game, if you will, and trying to bolster that offense again with a strong running game. And so that's what Clayton Adams is being brought here for. Obviously, a successful season with James Conner last year with Arizona. Overall, not a bad offense with Arizona in general. I didn't think it was terrible. Their defense was not that great, but they had their moments. But the offense of the Cardinals was all right, and they finished as kind of a mid-team in the NFC West, somehow above the San Francisco 49ers, which I could not believe had the season they had. But Christian McCaffrey's impact was clearly visible, and when he's not playing, you get what you get on that field. But Clayton
Mhm.
Adams and Derek Foster hired as part of this staff, which doesn't look too bad. And Brian Schottenheimer, I've seen a lot of people kind of grow a little bit more mercy toward him because at the end of the day, you don't know what you're going to get. We've seen guys like Nick Sirianni get hired from the Colts. He didn't even call plays. Frank Reich called plays. We didn't know who Nick Sirianni was at the time. His press conferences wasn't necessarily, insane. He was fumbling and stumbling over his words, and people were making fun of him for days. And look at that. He's ended up going to his second Super Bowl in 3 years. He could potentially win his first Super Bowl with the Eagles. Do you have any thoughts on these hires and what they mean for the team in general?
No, I mean, I think that, I think the emotion of the Brian Schottenheimer hire was eventually going to fall off, especially with, kind of the hopeless attitude of Cowboys fans and knowing that something like this would have happened anyways, and being like, okay, well, let's put our head down and just keep moving forward. Like I knew this was going to happen. And again, yeah, you can't judge a book until it's been written, I guess. And so we don't know. His book hasn't been written yet. We just got to figure it out. But I mean, Clayton Adams, great pickup. This staff is looking more and more complete. Look, man. I mean, look, the Cowboys, just hey, stay healthy, we have these rumors about Cooper Cup. If we can get a good offense, we can draft Ashton, maybe draft Ashton Jeanty. You talk about getting the run game going, and maybe that can help kind of separate these receivers, get them more open. Dak Prescott can have more time in the pocket with a more dangerous run game. And I really think that the Cowboys are trending up for next season with all in all everything working out. They can go 10-7 and lose in the wild card round.
That's the spirit, TJ. And not just Cooper Cup, by the way. Miles Garrett is also the trade block, it looks like. And he wants to, I believe, I'd hope he'd want to go to the Cowboys, who he originally wanted to go to as as he was graduating from A&M and moving on to the NFL. His hometown team, the Dallas Cowboys, or his team that he grew up rooting for, I should say. I don't know if it's really his hometown. But apparently Miles Garrett is the favorite to go to the Dallas Cowboys, which would be an interesting pickup. Would love that, but y'all know that ain't happening.
It's not gonna happen. We
Y'all know that.
know. We know it's not gonna.
I don't know if we have enough time. If you want to talk about the stars, I know you have to go to class really quick. But
I don't care about class.
the
When we have when
rebel,
we
the
have
rebel
Dallas
TJ.
teams giving us heartbreak on a Saturday night. I had a great day too on Saturday. I was
Yeah,
looking
I was
forward
having
to an
I was
amazing
having a
rest of
rough
my
day.
weekend,
Yeah, rough
and
day
it
physically,
just
but I made it.
tanked.
You know.
And I've been seeing all these videos about. Sorry to bring back the Luka trade, but I've been seeing all these videos on Twitter of these like Mavs, the kids, man, kids, they're crying, man, they're crying. Nico, you're a monster. You are a monster.
I feel for him.
You will pay for these sins that you have cast upon this city, Nico. It is so heartbreaking. All right, let's go to the stars. All right, the stars, the Dallas Stars transitioning. Look, actually, last night they're just coming off of a tough loss to the Anaheim Ducks, which the Ducks aren't a good team, but they seem to have our number, especially in the last few years and even this year. I think they're 2-0 against us this year now. But I mean, the Stars are kind of in a typical Dallas sports situation as of right now, with having a lot of injuries, and being good, having the talent, but not being able to put it together just yet. Um, Look, I believe that they're third in the entire league right now, points wise, and they haven't played. They're still they're kind of in the back end of games played in the league. They haven't played as many games as a lot of the teams have in the league. Um, so they have a lot of room to even increase their points in the league. But I, I don't know. I mean, they just made a recent trade for acquiring Macau Granlund and Cody Cece from the San Jose Sharks, and that was an interesting trade. I believe that you know the Stars. I don't understand that they love getting small, strong, or small and speedy forwards and defensive men. They really, sometimes I just hope that they're able to pick up a big body, somebody who can and be an enforcer, on the offensive side and also on the defensive side. They kind of miss those, and it's very obvious in the playoffs that they can get out physical at times. I don't think Marchman is really the big scary forward man that a lot of people think he is at times. I think he's a little what's a good way to put it? I think he's just a little awkward at times when he tries to be an enforcer. He can be, he can miss the hit in times, and he's not as strong as some people think. No offense to Mason Marchment, still think he's an amazing player. But I don't think that he's an enforcer. I wish the Stars were able to get an enforcer. I'm ranting about this. This isn't a big deal. They're still third in the league, and they're still a very good team. I think that they can, look, as long as they don't trade their best player and their franchise future away, look, they'll be another great contender this year. They've kind of came a reliable playoff team. They win playoff series. They can't really get to that final stage of winning the championship, but hey, if you're a Mavericks fan, you don't care about the Stars, you should start caring about them. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I love hockey. I love the Stars and I love hockey. And for me now, it's gonna be my favorite sport now. It's gonna be my favorite sport and my favorite team, unfortunately. with the downfall of the Mavericks.
And look, I mean, you talked, of course, of the injuries with Muir Haskin, and last week we knew there was something that wasn't right. Obviously, he was going to be shaken up after that injury, and it had come out that he's going to have that month-to-month um, time to sit out with that leg injury, and it's going to be a big blow to this team that's just been riddled with their health.
Mm-hmm.
But like you were saying, dude, like it's just wild to think uh, that Luka Doncic is really out of here. And Stars fans are on Twitter saying, "Man, come to us. We've been waiting for our respect." This team has been, to conference final after conference final, been to a Stanley Cup final, and didn't win successfully, but has a chance to win it this year. Third in the league, as you were saying. Come to this team that's not going to hopefully trade their great players. But it's just sad to see this stuff, man. And Pete DeBoer hopefully can get this team rolling with after that loss against the Ducks and deal with those injuries, which he already has a lot of on his plate with, and find a way to get to the playoffs again. Maybe hobbled, but find a way to get there in a good playoff positioning. But we're gonna wrap this podcast up, and what a podcast it was. Had to let that stuff out finally on the podcast. It felt similarly to how we felt after the Cowboys got bounced against Green Bay just last year.
Well, this is
This
five
this
times
is
worse
this
for
is a
me.
hundred times worse. Yeah, this is actually terrible. An awful feeling. Awful feeling.
All
But
jokes aside, this is actually the worst thing that could possibly happen for Dallas sports. We could have had. I mean, it's actually just like it's so depressing. But hey, there's three other teams in this city or in this metroplex. Look, we still got to support these teams, man. Still got to
yeah,
support.
man. The Rangers, they're looking good as well. I like that lineup they're making. It's looking deep. The pitching staff, so-so. Bullpen, not convinced at all, but the starting staff is not too bad. Um,
Re-sign David Robertson, please,
please.
please.
By the way, letting Kirby Yates go. I'll explain in the future, but that's disgusting. But I did not like
Disgusting.
that. But
The
that's
Dodgers are
it.
ruining baseball like Nico Harrison ruined basketball, man.
Hey, man, the whole league is selling by not just letting these guys sign everybody, honestly.
I know.
That'll do for episode
So
55 of
silly.
the 214 Sports Show. We do invite you to follow us on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, and TikTok as well. We have plenty of content there, plenty of thoughts, especially after that Luka trade. You can follow at 214 Sports Show on all three of those platforms. And then, TJ, you want to share your socials real quick?
Yeah, absolutely, Joseph. You can follow me at Instagram at tj.krulowitz and then on X at tj_Krulowitz. And yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, and for me, you can follow on TikTok and Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, at Joseph_Duffy99. That's the one for Instagram and X, but for my TikTok, I think it's at Joe Duffy. I believe it's that. But you can follow on those three platforms. And once again, we'll have this episode 55, the Leighton Vander Esch episode. Are we sold on that?
Yep, I'm sold on it.
Yeah,
I'm good
we're
with it.
sold on that. Episode 55 in the books.
We miss
We'll
you.
have this up in full in its entirety on YouTube and also our and Spotify at 214 Sports Show is also the handle for those. So that'll do it for episode 55 for TJ Krulwitz and Joseph Duffy. Have a great rest of your evening and let's hang in there.
That's all we can do.